All right, hey everyone. Welcome to my Super Bowl 58 kind of thoughts and reaction video. This is gonna be more podcasty than my first video, which I took a while to edit and make a script for. This is just gonna be kind of my off the cuff thoughts about the game and how I felt about it. Um, all right, so let's get into it. So I want to start off by talking about my last video. Yeah, I had a lot to say about the Chiefs during this regular season. I had a lot of thoughts about it. Yeah, everyone had a lot of thoughts about it, but I originally wanted to make a Kansas City Chiefs video and a 49ers video. I wanted to have both of them out before the Super Bowl, but I didn't have enough time to do it. I was thinking maybe I could make the San Francisco video not as good, less edited than the Chiefs video, but I didn't really want to do that. I had a lot to say about like Brock Purdy and how he got into the position he's in and all the superstars on that team, but yeah, I just couldn't find time for it, but I got the Chiefs video out and I can still probably do a 49ers video eventually. I was thinking maybe I could do it before the next season because I have a lot of thoughts about that team and Brock Purdy especially, but yeah, I'll save that. We'll just talk about the game and how I kind of saved myself because I didn't know which team to make a video on first. It was either the Chiefs or the Niners. I got the Chiefs video out and I was like, man, I really hoping the Chiefs win so that that video kind of looks good and I didn't just make that video just for them to lose, but they ended up winning. So Chiefs 25, 49ers 22 in overtime. So yeah, let's get into it. My idea for this video is to just go quarter by quarter and talk about each quarter, starting with the first. And I have really nothing to say about the first quarter. It was kind of a snoozer. Yeah, I had a feeling that this was going to happen before the game. Obviously these two teams have some of the best defenses in the league. I knew the game would probably be low scoring, and I knew it'd probably start slow, but I really did not actually expect a 0-0 start. There was really nothing for me to even get into here. The opening drive for the 49ers looked promising, looked good actually. I mean, against this defense, I know Brock Purdy kind of struggles with going up against good defenses. We obviously saw the Baltimore Ravens game where once the snowball started in that game, they were really never coming back. But they start off really strong in this game, which I kind of didn't expect. I had a feeling both of these teams would really just go at it in the second half because the 49ers actually haven't been looking very good in the postseason in the first half. And they were looking good here in the first drive until Christian McCaffrey fumbled the ball. That was definitely a surprise. Just, you don't really see Christian McCaffrey fumble the ball that often. But at least for the Niners, they were able to stop the Chiefs from scoring off that fumble, and there was no point scored in the first quarter, so it was basically just punting back and forth, and that's really it for the first quarter. Heading into the second quarter, points on the board actually, but not really any more entertaining, I guess. It was a lot of punts, a lot of defensive stops, a lot of defensive plays. The best moment in the second quarter, easily, was the touchdown by the Niners. Purdy threw the ball to Jawan Jennings. Like I don't even remember. It was like 4 yards, 5 yards even behind Purdy. And then Jawan Jennings threw it all the way across the field to McCaffrey. Beautiful blocking by the Niners. Christian McCaffrey was able to just walk right into the end zone after that. It was a beautiful, beautiful trick play. Respect to the Niners there. Chiefs, another rough quarter. Only got 3 points on the board. It was at the very end of the quarter. They were struggling, honestly. It was looking bad. And, we always see Mahomes have a comeback game in the Super Bowl. We've seen it against the Eagles. We saw it against the Niners. And I was thinking in the back of my head, yeah, we'll probably see Mahomes come back from this. This is what he does. But this did feel different. I haven't rewatched the last two Super Bowls he won, but this one felt like they were flat. They were arguing on the sidelines, and that kind of goes into my video. Frustration. I was seeing a lot of frustration from the Chiefs in the first half, and rightfully so. I mean, offense couldn't do anything, and then you get scored on by a trick play. Yeah, not looking good. But I was kind of hesitant to say that they were going to come back from this. I was like, they usually do, but this one feels a little different. And then we had the whole thing with Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. Travis Kelce pushing his coach, and that went all over the internet. I'm gonna get into that a little later because the takes on the internet were kind of ridiculous after that, and you could tell a lot of people who don't watch football were watching the Super Bowl as usual. That's to be expected. You see some interesting takes interesting takes from people about the Super Bowl because they don't really watch the sport. That's okay, but this whole like Travis Kelce thing, there was a little too much going on. But yeah, it was clear he was frustrated. He was frustrated with the play calling and frustrated after that Isaiah Pacheco fumble. Yeah, that was a big one. That was in the red zone. I think that was their first red zone trip, and it happened right after I believe it was a 52-yard pickup by Patrick Mahomes. Beautiful throw in double coverage. That was great, but obviously right after there was a fumble. That was deflating. I thought that was going to be huge. It was. They didn't score until the very end, and it was only 3 points. So by halftime, we had a score of 10-3 Niners. I kind of want to talk about Jake Moody real quick because he's kind of had a so-so rookie season. I mean, no, he's had a good rookie season, but he has missed some kicks. He's missed some pretty big ones too. He missed the game-winning kick against the Browns, and I've seen him miss a couple more. He missed that one in the Lions game that could have potentially been really bad. They obviously won that game, so doesn't matter. I kind of had some question marks on him. He's definitely good, but maybe if when the times get a little stressful, the nerves kind of play a factor. But in the second quarter, he bombed a 55-yard field goal to break the Super Bowl record. Kind of insane that 55 yards is the record. I didn't know. I mean, I guess I can't really think of a time. It hasn't happened since the Bills, like in the 90s, I think it was. So respect to Jake Moody for bombing that kick. That was great. Let me take this time to talk about the halftime show performance. I thought it was good. I haven't seen any takes about the halftime show online. Usually online, the internet, they always talk about the halftime show, whether they loved it or hated it. I mean, I've never seen anyone say they love it. They usually say they hate it. I didn't hate this one. It was all right. It was fun. Kind of what you want in a halftime show. I'm not like a big Usher fan or really any of those people's fan, but it was all right. It was good. I think it's one of the better ones in the last few years. I really did like the Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem, Kendrick, all those guys. That was the Rams Bengals game. I like that one. I don't remember the takes about that one. I remember the takes about last year's. I did not like last year's. I will say that this year's was an improvement, but that's it. It was fun. I don't know. All right, back to the game, third quarter, and things started getting spicy. As they usually do in the Super Bowl, we all know that the second half is way better than the first half. No different here because actually points were getting scored. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, let's see here. Points scored in the third quarter. Oh, 10. So, but it was all Chiefs though. Okay, so we had a field goal by Harrison Butker, who breaks the Super Bowl record that was already broken by Jake Moody in the second quarter. So Jake Moody had a record for about in game maybe like 15 minutes, maybe even less. That kind of sucks for Jake Moody. I'm sure he heard about him breaking the record and was feeling good, and then to lose it like maybe in time, like in real time, like an hour or two later. That kind of sucks, but respect to Butker, he is a really fantastic kicker and he is crazy in the postseason. So yeah, after that, we had a huge mistake by the 49ers on special teams. They stopped the Chiefs on offense. The Chiefs were forced to punt, and on the punt, I don't think it was the Niners punt returner. I think it was just another 49ers player. Well, he touches the football with his shin, does not notice it. The punt returner notices it, and he kind of panics, goes, "Oh, I got to get on this ball. The ball's alive." He jumps on it. He gets to it first, but he doesn't reel it in. He doesn't actually grab it. And the fact that he tried to grab the ball like that, all the Chiefs players are like, "Oh, no, I gotta get on the ball," and then they jump on the ball. They get the ball. A huge mistake by the 49ers, and it leads to a touchdown like the next play, Marquez Valdez-Scantling touchdown. Big mistake that brings the Chiefs up by 3, giving them their first lead of the game. I just want to bring up something a little funny about the beginning of the third quarter because the commentators were talking about how Patrick Mahomes he's been down in every Super Bowl that he's won at half, and that is true. And Patrick Mahomes is insanely clutch. It was just funny because the commentators were talking about it's like, all right, they get the ball at half, to tie the game up with a touchdown. Let's see it on this opening drive, and then Patrick Mahomes pitches it to Isaiah Pacheco, and it's like way behind him. I mean, it wasn't extremely behind him. Pacheco should have caught that, but I think it was more on Pacheco that he didn't look at the ball go into his hands and he was like too quick with the movements. He fumbles it. He gets back on it, thankfully, but it was just funny that they were talking about that and a mistake immediately. Like when you think they're about to get the momentum and we're about to see the Chiefs of every Super Bowl just coming back in the second half, and then a pretty big mistake. Um, that was just a little funny. I was really paying attention to Purdy during this game because you know, he gets a lot of flack online, and I am not a Purdy defender by any means. I'm really not a 49ers fan at all. He seems like a great guy, and it has nothing to do about him as a person. It's really just like his play. He has consistently shown that the pressure and the nerves just do not really get to him. He is young, he is 24 years old, playing in his first Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes, who, as the commentators were saying, he has the Mahomes kind of mystique. I think Purdy handled himself greatly in this game. I was really impressed by him. I didn't think I was going to be. I really, before the game started, I thought Purdy would be the one to be making mistakes, and that would be the reason the 49ers would lose. To have somebody not that experienced to be your leader is nerve-wracking, I'm sure, but Brock Purdy did not look nervous. He was making throws. He threw for 255 yards and he did not have an interception. Now it's time for the fourth quarter. The 49ers struck first with a 10-yard pass to Juwan Jennings. Juwan Jennings looked fantastic throughout this whole game. I think if the 49ers won this game, he was potentially the Super Bowl MVP. He was up there. He was making a lot of the plays for the 49ers, and this was no different because he fought for this touchdown. He broke a tackle or two and just made his way into this end zone. And Niners go up by 3, and then Jake Moody comes in for the extra point, misses it. Huge, huge, huge blunder to take the game from a 4-point lead to a 3-point lead. That obviously means a field goal now ties you, and they would have to get a sorry, what? He would have to get a touch. The Chiefs would have to get a touchdown to win or be ahead. The Chiefs would strike back right after with a 69-yard drive that would end in a Harrison Butker field goal. I was kind of scratching my head a little bit at this decision. I'm not a NFL head coach. I am not Andy Reid. So take what I say with a grain of salt here. I was kind of interested that the Chiefs didn't go for it on fourth here, so close to the end zone. And the way I was thinking is that clock's kind of winding down at this point. They had like 6 minutes or around that. They had like 6 minutes of clock left. You were close to the end zone, and if you don't get it, the 49ers start like at their 10 or something. They would be starting really, up in their own field. And I would think that you would have faith in your defense to stop them. Maybe they get a field goal, but then you still would win with a touchdown and an extra point. So I was just thinking you don't really want to give the 49ers the ball back here. Given the clock situation, I mean, they can just play long ball, get to a comfortable field goal range, and then they're going to leave you with no time. And that almost happened. I mean, that pretty much almost happened. It got to the point where it was the 2-minute warning. 49ers still had the ball in field goal range, third and four. And basically, if the 49ers converted on that third and four, they kind of just win. I mean, they win, right? Because the 2-minute warning was burned. If you convert on third and four, you can just keep running the ball, make them burn their timeouts. You can leave them with, I'm guessing they would have to still have some time on there, but you're forcing the Chiefs they need to score a touchdown. So the game would have effectively been over. I know Patrick Mahomes can do a lot, but I think They could have put Patrick Mahomes in an impossible situation there, but they do not convert on the third and fourth. The Chiefs defense uh, makes an amazing play, free runner. Purdy had no time, had to throw the ball out, and Jake Moody kicks a field goal to bring them up to three, and the score was 19-16 Niners. But Mahomes just goes crazy in moments like this, and I know that every person on the 49ers sideline was like, we left too much time and this might be bad. Like, oh, I wish it didn't go down like this. I know they were all thinking that because a minute 53 with two timeouts, that's infinity. That's just infinity for Patrick Mahomes. That's infinite time. You know what I mean? It's basically just a normal drive for him. So a minute 53, two timeouts. The Chiefs go up 64 yards in a amazing drive by the Chiefs and an amazing play by Travis Kelce, a 22-yard catch and run. They had potential to get a touchdown here. The Niners stopped the touchdown, but they still get the kick, tying up the game 19-19 at the very end, and we are going into overtime. The second overtime in Super Bowl history, I think. And this is also, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for the Falcons when that huge New England Patriots comeback, the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan was a coach, one of the coaches for the Falcons, so he is also kind of being a part of history twice. He's in the only two overtimes in Super Bowl history. I'm guessing he wasn't thinking that, but to think, yeah, the last time I was in overtime, I had the most heartbreaking loss of my entire life. I really hope this doesn't happen again. Well, let's find out. It happened again. No, I'm just kidding. Well, okay, so new overtime rules, and I'm gonna get into that later, the new overtime rules, because there were some of the 49ers players were talking about that after the game. I'll get into that after I'm done talking about the game, but new overtime rules, both teams get a chance to possess the ball unless there's a defensive score on the first drive. That is so much better than the original rules where it basically is decided by a coin toss. Whoever gets the coin toss, whoever wins it, gets the ball and will just score. Doesn't happen like that anymore. If the team who gets the ball first gets a touchdown, then the second team has an opportunity to score a touchdown as well. And then after those two potential touchdowns, whoever scores the next score wins the game. The 49ers win the coin toss and decide to get the ball first. That drive almost stalled out immediately because there was a third and long situation that they did not get, but there was a defensive holding call that gives them an automatic first down, and they start driving impressively too. I do want to talk about Christian McCaffrey. I was going to talk about him later, but I just say, man, he was fantastic this whole game. He was running up and down, catching passes. He looked amazing. He looked amazing in overtime. He had a big run here and the Niners get into the red zone, but they cannot get a touchdown. Almost did, but just the Chiefs defense, man. Looking at Chris Jones. Uh, I don't want to single him out because a lot of them looked like Trent McDuffie looked amazing. Even L'Jarius Sneed. Everyone was making plays, but Chris Jones getting the pressure on Brock Purdy and forcing him to throw the ball out, essentially. Yeah, it was incredible. And the 49ers have to kick the field. Well, doesn't have to. This was a conversation after the game. They decide to kick the field goal and go up by three, but I'm not gonna lie, I kind of agree with the internet here. You really should just go for it there. You should go and try to get that touchdown. You're so close to the end zone. If you don't, it's kind of a situation. It's the same, almost the same situation with Andy Reid that I was talking about, where it's like, yeah, if you fail the fourth down conversion, the Chiefs have to start backed up. I would have, I personally would have faith in the defense to stop them from getting a field goal there. It's a little more difficult in this situation because if you don't convert and the Chiefs get a field goal, the game is over, you lose. But still, I feel like you should have that offensive mindset. The offensive mindset has been getting bigger and bigger in football. Coaches are being more offensively minded, more aggressive, and they've been winning more games. Those coaches have been winning a lot more games than people who kind of just settle for field goals or let's not go for this fourth and short. Let's do something else. Um, I feel like in this situation you have to go for it. You have like the best team in football. You have the Avengers basically, like someone's gonna make a play. George Kittle was in the game. I know he was out for a little bit, but he jumped back in. You you had weapons. I really disagree with Kyle Shanahan in right here. I do think you should have went for the touchdown, but he didn't. So Moody kicks the field goal, and he's up. They're up by three. And Chiefs just kind of, well, it wasn't a pretty drive. Pretty much immediately, there was a fourth down situation that was very tense. I was watching the game. I'm not like a particularly big fan of either of these teams, but I was tense watching this fourth and one. Um, yeah, craziness. Patrick Mahomes decides to keep it and runs for the first down and a couple more. And yeah, they started driving down the field. Another big third down conversion later on. And with 3 seconds left in overtime, Mahomes throws it to Mecole Hardman, and Mecole Hardman scores the game-winning touchdown, giving the Chiefs their third Super Bowl win in 5 years. This is their fourth Super Bowl appearance. Unbelievable. And yeah, this pretty much solidifies them as a dynasty. I mean, I already kind of view them as a dynasty because of just the amount of times. I mean, take the Super Bowl out of it. Yeah, it's there, but you also have look how many times they made it to the AFC Championship. Isn't it 6 times in a row now? AFC Championship? That's a dynasty. That just does not ever happen. So, yeah, this just solidifies that. Everything I said in my previous video. I also thought it was cool. After the game, the Chiefs players were talking, and they were talking about how this win felt better than any of their other Super Bowl wins. And I was like, oh, that's cool because that's kind of what I said in my video. I said this probably is going to feel a lot better than their other ones because they had a lot of hardships this season, a lot of struggles, drops, a lot of Kadarius Toney who didn't play by the way. And I said, yeah, probably for the best you don't play Kadarius Toney. I wonder what he's feeling right now because it's like, yeah, I mean, I won a ring. I mean, you're really gonna go up there and get your ring? I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to do this too much because Kadarius Toney played a huge factor in last year's Super Bowl, like the Chiefs winning that game. I don't know if they win that game without some of those Kadarius Toney plays or that one particular that punt return one, but it's it's got to feel weird to get your ring after the season you had. But off topic. Yeah, the Chiefs just had a rocky season, but to do that and then win the Super Bowl. Sad for the 49ers, and yeah, I am not a 49ers fan. I really don't like them, but you gotta feel for them and their fans. Lost the Super Bowl twice in the last 5 years, both by the same team. You've just seen so much success with them, like every year, success. They're in the NFC Championship game, they're in the playoffs, they're looking great, and they've come up short every time. You know, NFC Championship losses, Super Bowl losses. This is tough. It must just suck to just be so close every time, and then you lose, and it's like, man, it sucks. It sucks for those guys. Sucks for Purdy. I thought he played great. I think he will get better, but yeah, the Chiefs are just too good. They're just too good. There's not much, man. There's not much you can do about it, man. When you think you got them, they just change it up on you, and then when it comes to being in the Super Bowl and having that comfortability in the biggest game. Yeah, you can't train for that. You can't practice that. You have to be in the Super Bowl to feel that. Mahomes has felt it many, many times. Pause, but yeah, he's out of the all the starting quarterbacks in the NFL by far, no question. He's just not the guy you want to see in the Super Bowl. You're like, give me any other team. I just do not want to play against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He's just been there, done that. He won some, he lost one, he got blown out in a game. He knows how it feels to lose a Super Bowl. He knows how it feels to win a Super Bowl. I mean, he's just, been here. He's been here. And that's a huge advantage going up against a young, unexperienced guy like Brock Purdy. So some final thoughts about the game. It was a really good Super Bowl in my opinion. I had a lot of fun with the Super Bowl. Absolute snoozer of a first half. I was dozing off. I'm not gonna lie. I'm always excited for the Super Bowl, and this one kind of was putting me to sleep a little bit. But I knew that the second half would most likely be better, and it was. It was a great second half, a really fun fourth quarter, and overtime. It was good. It was really good. I kind of want to talk about some of the things people have been talking about after the game. Uh, the Travis Kelsey situation. This is so stupid. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is dumb. Travis Kelsey did he shoved Andy Reid. We all know that. He was angry and upset that he wasn't on the field during the fumble. He wants to play. The dude knows who he is. He's Travis Kelsey. He's one of the best tight ends to do it. So he knows who he is. He wants to play football. And they had a talk. And I can only imagine that this happens so many times for these guys. I'm pretty sure Andy Reid has said it's not the first time. I think so, at least. And we've seen Andy Reid shoving Travis Kelsey during the Raiders game when he threw his helmet. This is just the relationship they have. They've known each other for like years. But people got so it's the Swifties. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't want to. I really don't want to talk about the whole Swifty thing. But it's them just going on the internet being like, "This guy is a red flag for Taylor. We gotta protect Taylor Swift." Like, come on, dude. It is a high stakes football game. Actually, calm down for a little bit, because he's just emotional about a football game, and then they get mad at him for not proposing to Taylor Swift, which is wild. I don't know who thought he was actually going to propose to. They've been dating for 3 months, maybe a little more. It hasn't been half a year because they just started dating this season. Like, you thought he was gonna propose. Give him all the shine. Put all the attention on Travis and Taylor. Let's not worry about any of his teammates who just won a Super Bowl. Let me just put all the attention on me. Yeah, I'm sure he was thinking about proposing, but no. Instead, he sang the Viva Las Vegas song, and then Swifties got mad at that, just saying that he's cringe. Whatever, he's cringe. I don't think so, but he just won a Super Bowl. You can get mad. It's a red flag to sing. I don't know. That was really weird. I don't put any stake into that shoving thing with Andy Reid. I just think it was a highly emotional moment, and Andy Reid understood that. He went on the mic after and just said, "Yeah, whatever. It doesn't even matter." I will say, if it wasn't Travis Kelsey that did that, he probably wouldn't even play another snap in that game. Like if it was McCole Hardman doing that, yeah, that's not gonna fly. But it's Travis Kelsey. I mean, come on. They've known each other for so long, and yeah, that was just a ridiculous take I saw. I was surprised that they didn't really use Christian McCaffrey in the third quarter. When the Chiefs started rolling, started getting momentum, I feel like they just kind of hit the brakes on Christian McCaffrey, and that was crazy to me. He was having an amazing game before that. Kind of, I don't want to say this because everyone was doing great, but especially the defense. But McCaffrey's kind of putting the team on his back offensively. I don't want to say that, but he was having a great game, and then they just kind of stopped running the ball. And I think Kyle Shanahan has had issues with that in the past. I want to say that's what happened in the Atlanta Falcons Patriots game. They stopped running the ball. They let time stay on the clock. I don't know why he does that. I thought that was interesting, but it happened. And you can't put one thing, you can't just point to one thing as to why you lost the Super Bowl, but I was just really confused about that decision. It also came out that a lot of the 49ers players didn't even know that the overtime rules changed, which it felt kind of excusey. I mean, they just lost the Super Bowl, so I get it, but first of all, the overtime rules didn't really come into play because you kicked a field goal. You did not score a touchdown. It would be different if you scored a touchdown. You're like, oh my God, we just won the Super Bowl, but then you realize you gotta keep playing football. That would have been bad. But you kicked the field goal. I think you should go for the touchdown in both scenarios. You decided to go for the field goal. There's a lot of nuance to this actually because there's more nuance to whether or not you should get the ball first or defer the ball. They did win the coin toss. Do you keep the ball or do you defer it? Back then, you always keep it. You always kept the ball no matter what. But now there's a little bit of a discussion to be had that you want to. Tony Romo was saying on the broadcast that now that you know that it's fourth down territory throughout the entire drive, it gives you more freedom. Third downs are not like you have more flexibility in your play calling. But at the end of the day, I just don't know. Like, that's a coaching issue. That's somebody on the 49ers team should have told the players that the overtime rules have changed. I mean, I know that the overtime rules have changed in the postseason. I know that. I'm not an NFL player. I just watch it. And I knew that. But the players didn't know that? Somebody should have told the players. That's all I'm going to say. That's really not on anyone but the players and the staff of the 49ers, to be completely honest. But I think that's all I have to say about this. It was a great game. I thought it was fun. I had fun. What do I think is going to happen in the next season? Don't know. The 49ers are favorites to win the Super Bowl again. That's kind of crazy to me. That's insane to me, actually. How are the Chiefs not the favorites? Yeah, that's weird. But yeah, I think the 49ers are going to continue to be good. Brock Purdy might get better, but this team kind of has the situation of the contract stuff because they have a lot of superstars on this team, and one day they will have to pay everybody, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to happen eventually, and especially when Brock Purdy has to hit, the new contract. I don't know what's going to happen. I think that's going to be interesting to see how this team is going to reshape and form in the next 2 or 3 years. You also got some older guys on that team. Um, I don't know how old Trent Williams is, but I know he's older. This Niners team is gonna, change soon here. The Chiefs, fantastic win. I don't even know what to say about the Chiefs. Like, I'm just so surprised they made it to the Super Bowl. I just think they can do anything at this point. Their defense is young and crazy, just crazy good. Travis Kelsey, he'll probably come back for another year. He said he wants the three-peat, so I think next year will most likely be his last year. If he loses next year, I do think it will 100. Oh, there's an airplane. I don't know if you guys can hear the plane. Sorry, but yeah. So I think Travis Kelsey will. This next year will probably be his last. So let's soak it in. And Mahomes will probably continue to just be dominant and crazy, and just seems like there's no stopping this guy. It's insane. He's insane, and this team was really impressive. Just to be where they were and to have so many mistakes and just nothing was going right for this team, and then postseason happens and just like a snap of your fingers, dude, they just make it to the Super Bowl, have a hard fought, very like grimy, difficult win, but they won, and impressive, impressive from the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, that's all I have to say. In this video, that's all I have to say about this Super Bowl. I thought it was a good Super Bowl, and yeah, let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, though. I know this video is a bit different than my first one. I didn't really plan to make like a highly edited video about the Super Bowl. I didn't even really have a script. I didn't have a script at all for this video. I just wanted to get my thoughts out and just talk about the Super Bowl. And yeah, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave a like. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. And I will make a video probably next week. So yeah, thanks.